speak with you, Ms. Collier. I'm sorry we weren't able to meet in person today. How you doing?
Good morning. Good evening. I'm sorry, good afternoon.
Is there anyone else that we're waiting for to join this session?
I don't think so.
From the school side, we have the principal and associate principal of Lakeside, Ms. Samuel and Mr. Geisler, and then also Susan Grainer, who is one of our exceptional education specialists here today. Good evening, everyone. Hello, how are you doing?
Hello.
So as we talked about, or as I talked about with Ms. Lucas in other meetings, that we are not going to be recording this session, and we would ask that you all would agree that we're not recording during this meeting as well. Okay, everyone's in agreement with that? Yes. Great, thank you. So this is a resolution session as part of what is required since you have put forth the due process request in relation to Julian. So we have 30 days to try to come to a resolution. And of course, we had to meet within 15 days of the filing of the complaint, which would have been tomorrow. So I'm glad that we were able to get together this afternoon. And this is an opportunity to not necessarily rehash the issues that have been happening. I'm sorry, did someone else join the conference call? I'm hearing beeps. I apologize. So not necessarily an opportunity to rehash the issues, but a chance for us to hear from you, Ms. Collier, what we can do to move forward and hopefully resolve the case without having to go all the way through to a hearing with the hearing officer. So do you have any questions about what this meeting is and what the intent of the meeting is? No. Not at the moment. I don't have any questions. Okay. So one thing that we could do is just starting to look at the complaint that you filed and look at the points that you put forward as far as potential proposed resolutions and go through those bullet by bullet and discuss. But before we do that, I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. At this point, I don't have that you've signed consent for eligibility for Julian, and I'm wondering if that was a mistake on your part. Had you intended to provide consent for eligibility at the March 1st meeting? Eligibility for? To be found eligible as a student with a disability under OHI. So on the form that we have, you signed as a meeting participant as well as Ms. Lucas signed as a meeting participant. But then the next section on that form says parental consent, and in order to provide consent for special ed eligibility, you have to check and sign in that particular portion to grant consent. I believe it may have been an oversight.
It was clearly an oversight because we proceeded with the IEP. So if you scan us that document, we'll get it signed.
We'll do that. And, even if we hadn't received consent at that point, oftentimes we do go ahead and propose what services would like if consent were provided. But I completely understand and agree that I think that this was an oversight and that you had intended to sign on that date. So we'll get that document to you this afternoon for you to sign, okay? And then you can just scan and return it back to us. Okay. Okay, and at this point, I also have that you have not provided any consent to the proposed IEP. Is that accurate? You said I have not. You haven't. I'm sorry. Oh, it's okay. You haven't provided consent to the proposed IEP. So my understanding is at the end of the last IEP meeting, y'all said you were going to take the IEP home and look and consent to the. I'm sorry. Just to mind my background. I thought that we did all that. We haven't received a signed IEP or a consented to IEP at this point. My understanding was you were going to take it home and review it with your advocate and determine which parts of the IEP you consented to. And we didn't, or the school hasn't had the document that return that had any elements consented to.
That's correct. We signed the behavior intervention plan, Ms. Collier. We still did not sign the consent to the actual IEP pending their issue regarding the one-on-one. We requested a trained behavior aide. We were going to go ahead and continue to review that, but we did not consent to the IEP in its entirety. We did consent to the behavior intervention plan. Once again, the main component that we had was that mom requested a trained behavior aide to provide services for Julian, support services for behavior, because there were still reports of him being suspended, I believe, approximately a little bit under 2 weeks prior to that meeting. Mr. Geisler recommended that he be transferred to an alternative placement because of behavior. We clearly